You know how everyone kind of goes crazy for Obama's book lists?
Oh, yeah,
Every year.
totally.
Like when he was president, he would always tweet out
Yeah.
his favorite books of the year.
Uh-huh.
And he still does it.
He does.
And like, it seems like everyone I know is always just waiting to see what's on it.
It's true. It always sparks so much conversation.
Yeah. And so like his latest one for 2024,
Yeah.
everyone's buzzing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we had to do a deep dive into it.
Of course we did.
So anyone who wants like the full list and links to find these books, you can find that in our show notes.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, this year's list is really interesting.
It is.
It's got everything.
Yeah, it's super diverse.
From like science fiction to literary fiction,
Uh-huh.
memoirs,
Yeah.
deep dives into social issues.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Really good. So, where do we even begin?
Well, let's kick things off with The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt.
Ooh, that one's been getting a lot of buzz lately. I hear it's pretty eye-opening.
It is, and it really hits close to home for anyone who's seeing the pressures young people face today.
Yeah, I mean, anxiety rates are through the roof these days. It's pretty alarming.
Exactly, and Haidt really digs into the why behind it all. He explores the reasons behind this rise in anxiety and mental health struggles in teens.
So it's not just, the usual suspects like social media or academic pressures.
Well, those are definitely part of it. But Haidt actually points to a more fundamental shift.
Oh, really? Do tell.
He argues that the shift from a childhood filled with free play and exploration to one dominated by screens is a huge factor.
That's interesting. I mean, it makes sense though, right? Kids today are constantly plugged in.
Exactly, and he backs this up with a ton of research. He talks about how over-supervision from parents can actually backfire.
How so?
Well, it seems like while it's well-intentioned, it can actually lead to less exploration and risk-taking for kids.
Ah, I see. So they're not developing those coping mechanisms and resilience skills.
Right, and this lack of unstructured playtime, combined with the constant stimulation of phones, creates a perfect storm for anxiety.
It's like their brains are always on overdrive, no time to just chill and process things.
Exactly, and Haidt goes even deeper. He explores the biological and psychological effects of this screen-heavy lifestyle.
So we're talking about things like sleep deprivation, less face-to-face interaction.
Yep. All of that, and even how our brains get kind of fragmented by constantly switching between apps and tasks.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that myself sometimes. It's like I can't focus on one thing for more than 5 minutes.
It's a real issue. And what's great, though, is that Haidt doesn't just leave us hanging with this sense of doom and gloom.
Oh, good, because I was starting to get a little anxious myself.
He actually offers solutions tailored to different groups. So he gives advice to parents on how to foster healthy tech habits, tips for schools on promoting social-emotional learning, even guidance for teens themselves.
Oh, wow. So it's like a practical guidebook for navigating the digital age.
Exactly. I mean, what resonated most with you from this first pick?
I think the idea that unstructured play is crucial for development really stood out to me. We need to give kids more space to just be kids.
I totally agree. Okay, so moving on to a completely different genre. We have Sally Rooney's latest novel, Intermezzo.
Oh, Rooney, she's like the queen of capturing those messy, complicated relationships.
Right. And this one seems to be no exception. Although it does mark a bit of a departure for her.
Oh, how so?
Well, it focuses on two brothers, Ivan and Peter, grappling with grief and complicated relationships in Dublin.
So it's not her usual focus on female protagonists.
No, but there's still that signature Rooney style. The sharp observations, the witty dialogue.
I love how she just gets right into the heart of human interactions.
Me too. And what's interesting here is that their father, a well-known poet, has recently passed away.
Oh, so there's that added layer of grief and the whole dealing with a legacy thing.
Exactly. And of course, it wouldn't be a Rooney novel without some romantic entanglements.
So we've got age gap romances, power imbalances, explorations of sibling rivalry, all set against the backdrop of contemporary Dublin.
It's a recipe for a thought-provoking read, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so from nuanced family dynamics to a story of courage and conviction, our next pick takes us into the world of Alexei Navalny with his memoir, Patriot.
Now, this is no ordinary autobiography. Navalny, a fierce critic of Putin's regime, wrote most of this while imprisoned in Russia.
Wow, talk about a powerful act of defiance. I can't even imagine writing a book under those circumstances.
It's incredible. And, the book itself is a fascinating blend of personal narrative, political expose, and prison memoir.
So it's not just a retelling of his life, but also a commentary on the political landscape.
Exactly. He takes us through his journey from his early days as a lawyer to becoming a leading opposition figure.
And I'm guessing he doesn't hold back on his criticisms of Putin.
Not at all. He exposes the corruption, the human rights abuses the suppression of dissent. It's a really sobering look at what's happening in Russia.
And what makes this memoir even more poignant is that Navalny tragically died in prison just weeks after completing it.
It's heartbreaking. You know, his words now serve as a reminder of the risks he took and the price he paid for speaking truth to power.
It's a powerful legacy, and I'm sure the book will continue to inspire people around the world.
Absolutely. All right, so for a complete change of pace, let's journey to the International Space Station with Samantha Harvey's Orbital.
Ooh, space travel now. That's an escape from reality I can get behind.
Right. And this is no ordinary space adventure. This novel actually made history as the first space-themed book to win the prestigious Booker Prize.
Wow, that's impressive. So what makes it so special?
Well, for one thing, the structure is really unique. The story unfolds over 24 hours, with each chapter representing a 90-minute orbit.
Oh, that's clever. So it's like we're experiencing time and space alongside the astronauts.
Exactly. We get this immersive glimpse into their daily routines, the scientific experiments, the awe-inspiring views of Earth, but also their profound reflections on humanity's place in the cosmos.
It makes you wonder what it would be like to see our planet from that perspective.
Right. Like, how would it change your worldview?
I bet it would make all our problems down here seem pretty insignificant.
I think so too. And, you know, Harvey doesn't just focus on the astronauts' physical journey, but also their inner transformations.
So it's not just a sci-fi adventure, but also a story about personal growth.
Exactly. They grapple with questions of purpose, belonging, the meaning of life itself.
Deep stuff. It sounds like she's using the vastness of space as a canvas to explore the depths of the human condition.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Ready to touch back down to Earth, but with a twist.
Always game for a twist. What do we have next?
Our next pick is The Anthropologists by Ayşegül Savaş, and it takes us on a journey of cultural discovery and personal transformation.
Sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So it centers around a young couple, Asha and Manu, who are building a new life together in a foreign city.
Oh, the classic fish out of water story. I love those.
This one has a unique twist, though. Asha is a documentary filmmaker, and she starts observing her new neighborhood through an anthropological lens.
Wait, so she's like documenting the daily rhythms and rituals of her surroundings.
Exactly. It's like she's becoming an anthropologist of her own life.
I love that idea. It's like she's trying to make sense of this new environment and her place within it.
Right. And as she immerses herself in the local culture, she also starts to unravel some personal baggage from her past.
Oh, wow. So her external exploration mirrors her internal journey.
Exactly. It's a beautiful parallel, and the book delves into themes of belonging identity, what it means to create a home away from home.
I think that's something a lot of people can relate to, especially in today's increasingly globalized world.
I agree. Okay, so are you ready for a deep dive into the heart of American politics?
Always lead the way. Okay, so our next pick is a bit of a deep dive into the American psyche with Stolen Pride by Arlie Russell Hochschild.
This one is fascinating, right? It really gets into the emotional undercurrents of American politics, especially on the right.
Yeah, Hochschild is known for her ability to really bridge divides and empathize with different perspectives.
And in this book, she takes on the challenge of understanding the rise of the right, particularly in Appalachia.
A region that's often misunderstood and frankly misrepresented in the media.
Definitely. And one of the key concepts she explores is this idea of the pride paradox.
The pride paradox. Tell me more about that.
So she argues that economic hardship and cultural shifts have led to this deep sense of loss and resentment among working class communities.
So it's like they feel like their way of life, their values, their pride has been stolen from them.
Exactly. And Hochschild doesn't just theorize about this. She actually spent years in Pikeville, Kentucky, listening to the stories of people who are struggling.
So she's really getting into the heart of these communities, hearing their firsthand experiences.
Absolutely, and she doesn't shy away from the anger and frustration they express, but she also digs deeper.
What do you mean by that?
She tries to uncover the underlying anxieties and fears that are driving these emotions.
That's so important, right? To really understand where people are coming from, even if you don't agree with their views.
Exactly. And through this deep listening, she uncovers this complex web of factors that are contributing to political polarization.
So it's not just about economics, it's about culture values, a
Yeah.
sense of being left behind.
Right. It's about feeling like the world is changing too fast and you're being left behind.
And that feeling of being left behind can be really powerful. It can drive people to make choices they might not otherwise make.
Definitely. And Hochschild's work is a reminder that we can't address these divides without first understanding the emotional realities of the people involved.
We need to listen to each other, empathize with each other, even if we disagree.
Absolutely. Okay, so from the complexities of American politics, let's shift gears to a future shaped by climate change.
Sounds ominous. What do we got?
Our next pick is In Ascension by Martin MacInnes, and it takes us to a world where rising sea levels have forced cities to build elaborate defenses against the ocean.
Wow, so we're talking serious climate change impacts here.
Yes, and it's against this backdrop that we meet Lee, a marine scientist who's on a mission to unravel the mysteries of the deep.
Okay, so a bit of a sci-fi adventure, but with a climate change twist.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating about this book is how MacInnes weaves together scientific exploration with profound reflections on the human condition.
So it's not just about the cool technology and underwater discoveries?
Right, Lee's journey takes her from the dikes of Rotterdam to the depths of the ocean trenches, where she encounters all sorts of strange and wondrous creatures.
It makes you wonder what's really down there in the unexplored depths of our oceans.
I know, right? And her work is not just about scientific discovery, it's also about testing technology that could one day be used to explore the oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa.
Whoa, now that's getting really sci-fi.
It is, but it's also a reminder of humanity's enduring drive to explore the unknown, even in the face of existential threats like climate change.
There's something really hopeful about that, right? This sense that even in the midst of crisis, we still have this curiosity, this desire to discover new things.
Definitely. And MacInnes really captures that spirit in this book.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready to tackle some economic challenges?
Hit me with it.
Our next pick is Growth, A Reckoning by Daniel Susskind. And in this one, he really challenges us to rethink our obsession with economic growth.
That's a pretty radical idea considering how much our society is built around the idea of constant growth.
It is, but Susskind makes a compelling case. He acknowledges the benefits growth has brought, but he also shines a light on the downsides.
For sure.
Well, he talks about how unchecked growth has fueled inequality, environmental degradation, and technological disruption.
Yeah, those are some pretty serious side effects.
And you know what I appreciate about his approach is that he doesn't just advocate for degrowth as the solution.
That would be a tough sell for a lot of people.
For sure. Instead, he urges us to redefine what we mean by progress.
Okay, so not just focusing on GDP, but on a more holistic vision of well-being.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing sustainability, social justice, and a more equitable distribution of resources.
That's a much more nuanced approach and, frankly, a more appealing one.
It is, and it's a conversation we need to be having, especially given the economic uncertainties we face.
Absolutely. Okay, so from the macro level of economic systems, let's zoom in on a more personal story.
Our next pick is Someone Like Us by Dinaw Mengestu, and it's a story about family secrets and the search for identity.
Ooh, sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So we meet Mamouche, a journalist who returns to the Washington suburbs after his father's death.
Okay, so he's going back home to confront his past.
In a way, yes. And the book unfolds like a mystery, with Mamouche piecing together fragments of his father's past, trying to understand the man he never truly knew.
There's always something so compelling about those family secrets that come to light after someone's gone.
Right. And as Mamouche delves deeper, he uncovers some long-buried truths that force him to confront his own identity and his place in the world.
It's like his father's story becomes a mirror reflecting back his own life and choices.
That's a great way to put it. And Mengestu weaves in these beautiful reflections on memory, belonging, and the complexities of father-son relationships.
It's a reminder that our families shape us in ways we may not even realize.
Absolutely. Okay, so are you ready to step into the world of creativity?
Always, let's do it.
Our next pick is a work of art by Adam Moss, and it's a fascinating exploration of the creative process.
Oh, cool. So we're talking about how those brilliant ideas actually come to life.
Exactly. And Moss has this unique perspective because he was the editor of New York Magazine. So he's seen firsthand how creative people work.
He must have some amazing stories to tell.
He does. And in this book, he pulls back the curtain and reveals the inner workings of some of the most innovative minds in art, culture, and media.
So we're talking about people like Ira Glass, Samin Nosrat, David Simon.
Yep, all of them. And what I found so interesting is that he's not just interested in the finished product, he's interested in the process.
So the messy, iterative process that leads to those breakthroughs?
Exactly. He explores the role of doubt, experimentation, even failure in shaping something truly original.
That's such an important message, right? That creativity isn't just about having some magical talent. It's about hard work and perseverance.
And a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's really striking how these 10 books offer such a wide range of perspectives.
Right. I mean, we've got everything from the anxieties of modern life to the potential for human resilience in the face of global challenges.
It really speaks to Obama's curiosity and his willingness to engage with different ideas.
Yeah, and it makes you think what kind of conversations he must have about these books.
Oh, for sure. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for those discussions.
Me too.
Ah.
Okay, so one thing that stood out to me was how many of these books deal with the complexities of human relationships?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like those family dynamics in Intermezzo and the father-son bond in Someone Like Us.
Right. It just shows you how much our connections with others shape who we are.
And how important it is to understand and empathize with different perspectives.
Absolutely. Especially when those perspectives are different from our own.
You know, thinking back to the anxious generation, it really made me think about how the digital age has changed relationships.
Oh, totally. I mean, especially for young people, it's a whole new world of social interaction.
And it's not always easy to navigate.
Definitely. But at least Haidt's book offers some practical guidance.
Yeah, for parents, educators, even teens themselves.
It's a conversation we need to keep having, for sure.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, I was also drawn to the books that challenge us to rethink our relationship with growth and progress.
You mean like growth, a reckoning in stolen pride.
Exactly. I mean, they both expose the flaws in our current systems and urge us to consider alternatives.
Yeah, they force us to ask those tough questions about what really matters.
Like, is it just about economic growth, or is it about creating a society where everyone can thrive?
A society where our planet is protected and where our values are reflected in our choices.
Right. It's about redefining what progress actually means.
It's a much-needed conversation, I think.
I agree. Okay, so I have to say I was really moved by Alexei Navalny's Patriot.
Oh, me too. His courage and conviction are just incredible.
It's a powerful reminder that one person can make a difference.
Even in the face of incredible adversity.
And it also makes you appreciate the fragility of democracy and the importance of fighting for what you believe in.
So true. Okay, so switching gears again, I was completely captivated by the books that celebrate creativity and exploration.
You mean like Orbital and the work of art?
Yes. Orbital blew my mind. I mean, the way Harvey captures the beauty of space and the reflections of the astronauts is just amazing.
It really makes you think about our place in the universe.
And the work of art is such a fascinating look at the creative process.
Right. It shows you that innovation and breakthroughs often come from hard work, experimentation, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty.
Yeah, you don't have to be some kind of genius to be creative.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Barack Obama's 2024 reading list, I'm left feeling so inspired.
Me too. It's amazing how books can expand our horizons and challenge our thinking.
And connect us to the wider world.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that learning is a lifelong journey and that there's always something new to discover.
So until next time, happy reading, everyone.